Warren Storbeck. How are you, bud? And awesome to see you again.
Good morning, Sean. I'm good, and yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. And this is quite a pleasant way to start a Monday. How's your Christmas, what you call it, organization or going? What are you doing for Christmas this year?
I'm just gonna house sitting for my cousins. They're off to Europe for a couple of weeks. I'm gonna house sit for them for a couple of days. Christmas Day, I'm going to some mates in another part of England, not too far off from where
Okay,
I am. So yeah, just gonna spend it with some friends and
nice.
then just relax. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's the big one. I'm actually looking forward to my break, to be honest. So Warren, tell us a bit about yourself. So, just for context, Warren and I worked together in London, what, 20 odd years ago at the
Yeah,
at the Chancery Court, it's all
it
those years
was.
ago. Yeah. So, and we kind of met just on the verge of social media. There was the world was not play. We were still sending SMSs in those days, and then sort of we've kept in touch amongst other people in the sort of security thing we're doing via social media, and we've kind of kept in touch, a bit over the years, and but it's also how I've seen your journeys. Social media is an amazing thing now, that in a lot of ways, isn't it?
Yeah. Social media, it's really scary. It's good, but it's also scary because it's live information at the drop of the hat.
Yeah, it's
People have always
crazy.
said the people are saying the world's getting worse and worse. I'm like, no, the world's been the same for the last 100 years. It's just that we got information literally at the drop of a hat. Something
Yeah,
happens.
exactly.
Yesterday, something happened at Heathrow Terminal. There was some guy trying to steal a bag. It was on the news within 5 minutes. People had their cameras out sharing live videos of it. So
Mm.
you don't have to wait anymore to wait for the test patterns for the news to come on anymore. You
Sure.
just hear it. Yeah,
The common man is able to document his life now,
yeah,
in a
yeah,
sense, and which comes right into your sort of the life in the last few years, and which is sort of your battle against sort of weight loss, and well, with weight loss, and sort of essentially turning the pendulum around for the benefit of yourself and your health, I guess.
yeah, 100%. And that's why I just started documenting it as well, because I should have done it from day one. It would have actually been more out there, would have been more of a thing. But I've only done it once I've lost the weight and gained the confidence, because it was a massive psychological thing for me
I
to
bet.
to put it out there. Even like my current directors, because I'm still fully employed full time, they
Mm.
were like, "You need to start walking," and I was like, "Oof, I'm not ready for it yet," because the English can be quite ruthless, and they just sometimes talk without thinking, and
Yeah,
um, I was just worried about getting out there in the road and people like hurling abuse at me, or look at this fat guy walking and that. But so I had to mentally prepare myself for that. And once I had lost quite a bit of weight, then
yeah.
your confidence grows. And then I was like, oh well, I can take it on now. Anybody who hurls any
Sure.
abuse at me, I got the confidence to chirp back.
Yeah. It's kind of getting on top of that. I've not been the fittest person. I've had weight issues since my whole life, and I remember I joined a boxing club in Brighton. That's another reason I wanted to speak to you, because there's something I'm intrigued in the mental space you need to be in. But man, I got comments, bro. So I was really heavy, went in and started, you're sitting there doing, you can barely do 10 push-ups, and you're like, okay, I've got a problem here,
Yeah, yeah.
And but yeah, I got a lot of comments, and I actually remember a guy who started the same time as me, and he just said, "Dude, you're getting so many comments. Why do you come here?" And it's just like, I don't know. You got to develop that thick skin. And it's like, because for me, it was like, and I think for you as well, I just built up, like, okay, I'm gonna get comments. I just need to be ready for this, and
Yeah,
just ignore it.
you just need to push through. You got to do what's best for you. And if you can know the benefits are there, or seen people around you and they've managed to push through, then you've just got to push through it. It's You got to have that burning desire, and that's one thing I've always had. I've had a burning desire to succeed. As
Mm.
much as I let myself go, and I put on literally so much weight,
Hmm.
and I just had that desire in me to dig deep and to push through, and that's what it's about, to get to that mental space.
Yeah, yeah,
Through my whole transition, I've had a few people reaching out to me about wanting to get into a better space, etc., but they don't want to let go. And I'm like, well, if you can see the results and what I am and getting myself into a better space, then it shouldn't. It's a bit of a no-brainer to let go of what's
yeah.
holding you back.
Sure, sure, sure. It's yeah. That's kind of where you need to be. So let's start from the beginning, Warren. How bad did it get? What sort of how heavy did you get? Where you just like I'm done. Enough's enough now. What was that turning point for you?
So I've I've got a very small network of people, and for me, it was I had to keep my network small, and these people were trying to be sensitive and nice and friendly, and eventually you click what people are saying, and like they're trying to encourage you to go to gym or invite you over, and there's a healthy meal there, and then um,
Yes,
you
it's
know,
like have some salad.
yeah, 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 and they were people were very diplomatic about it, and then I got some really close cousins, and they were like, "So why don't you young the UK?
Sorry,
Why
man.
don't you get?"
Give me a sec. Give me a sec. Sorry, Warren. That was the secretary. So kicking off. I think there's a delivery. Anyway, sorry. Go. Please
Yeah,
carry
no
on.
problem,
Sorry
no
about that.
problem. So being in the UK, the NHS, you know what it's about. For those who don't, it's just a national medical scheme where it's you can get and go use it for. It's not free, but comes out of your national insurance. But anyway, it's a service you can use. So I started seeing an obesity nurse, and I've always been a big lad, but I got to another level, and we'll get to the kg marks shortly. But when I weighed myself at this obesity nurse, it took a while to get there. And when I went and weighed myself, it was a chair where you sat down on a scale, and I was like, okay, this is for big boys
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
big girls.
The big lads. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
the big lads chair. So um, I went and I sat on this chair, and I think it was 28 or 30 kgs over what I thought I weighed. So I thought I weighed about 175, 178, but I weighed 209 kgs, and I was like, no.
Wow. Yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, no. There's now I can actually see why people are trying to be nice, diplomatic,
Mm,
and not hurt my feelings as people try to be a bit. I feel so sometimes too sensitive as well.
mm,
Um, and I was like, no, something needs to happen. And at that time, the Manjaro was starting to come. Well, it had been around for a couple of months, and it was just becoming more. All these weight loss injections, everybody was advertising it and talking about it, and that. So, I started doing my research. Also, with the NHS, they gave me a diet. I started following that diet, and I wasn't losing weight. But then I went on to the Manjaro, and I still wasn't as disciplined as I was when I got into it, and then I started losing a bit of weight. Went back to South Africa in January this year. People could see I was losing weight, so my confidence started coming up. Well, getting more and more, and then
mm.
after my holidays, I had a bit of family time. I was in a bit of a better space. You know what it's like being away from home, not seeing
Sure.
family, friends.
Hmm.
Um, and then the 1 month I lost like 12 kgs because I'd up my dosage. Each month you up your dosage on the injection, it goes up
Hmm.
from you start off at 5 or whatever it all depends on your circumstances at the moment, what they at that stage that they start you out on. And I increased my dosage, and I lost 12 kgs the 1 month, and I was like, wow, 12 kgs. And I'm
Wow,
like,
that's a massive amount. That's a
yeah, in
big
one
amount.
month.
That's three
And
kgs a week. Is
yeah,
that
3 kgs. Yeah.
yeah, 3 kgs a week? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
How did that
So, and
feel? Can you actually, like, out of interest, can you, when you lose that amount of weight, 'cause that's a big chunk of weight in a very short space of time, can you actually, do you actually feel it? Like, do you feel like, there's, I'm disappearing, or what's the mental thing with that? To actually,
I'm
what?
glad you brought that up because that was part of what I was going to say, and I lost kind of track. But
Sorry, man. Sorry.
it's yeah, no, I lost myself. But um, even now, to answer your question, even now, I feel like I look at myself in the mirror or sitting on the couch without my shirt, and I'm like, have you actually lost this weight? Because you can still see a bit of a bump and my man boobs and all of that. When, but I can feel it when I'm walking and when I'm out and people see me, and
Yeah.
people look at you differently now than when they did, like, funny enough, I was actually at ASDA about 3 weeks ago, and this little kid, innocent little kid, bless them, they don't know any different. They were like, "Oh, mommy, that guy's got a big tummy," and I just started laughing, and I said to myself, "Lati, had you seen me 6, 8 months ago, you
Yeah.
would have known what a big tummy was about."
Yeah, exactly. You've got no idea. Yeah, yeah.
So you feel the differences in terms of your clothing. That's where you feel it the firstly,
Mm.
and then like silly little things like I was laying in bed and my legs have literally halved in size, and I was like,
Wow.
I could move my legs more. I sleep better. You can move around in my bed a lot better. So you could start seeing the difference. You like start seeing your thigh bone. It's not hidden in fat anymore.
Yeah.
Um,
Sure,
and
sure. Gotcha.
I've always like battled with my ankles and that's so why it was one of my excuses not to go walking, because I was like, oh, my ankles, my knees are hurting. And another thing I saw as well, I went to what was it, Argentina, South Africa, Argentina at Twickenham, and then the guys, I stopped to talk to somebody, and the rest of the crew, they had went ahead, and I like caught up to them, and I started like actually running a little bit, and I was like, oh, okay,
I
this is
haven't done this
different.
in a while. Yeah,
Yeah, I literally haven't done this in almost 20 years, taking a bit of a jog, and I was like, wow, okay. And that's when you feel the difference in that,
yeah.
and that's when you can see it. And your clothing size, I've gone from a 6XL shirt to a 3XL. I'm probably going to go down to a 2XL pretty soon in the next week or two, because I just bought some 3XL shirts and they're already too baggy for me, and I'm like, oh, yeah. So you see the differences in that, and you actually do see your body shrinking, and it's quite fascinating how the body
Mm.
works, because you literally, if you're doing it right in terms of, well, if you do it to suit your body, because you learn from the experience what to eat, what to put in your system and your body, and your body, well, it's actually shrinking in proportion. I'm going to have a bit of excess skin in that, but your body just shrinks in proportion. It's amazing how it works.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
So
yeah,
that's it. But that's amazing. So let's talk about the diet. I assume, have you stuck to that NHS sort of diet, or have you found something that works for Warren Storbeck? Because we come from a meat eating society. That their sugar, South Africans aren't afraid of sugar and salt. That's one thing we're not afraid of. Definitely sugar. Like, gout is fairly common here and stuff like that. How have you gone from, like, culturally how you view food to where, like, okay, this is what's great for Warren Storbeck? Because I don't believe there's one diet that works for all. I do believe genetics and stuff like that does play a part of, what's your cultural, your sort of ancestry, if you will. But what works for Warren Storbeck? What's been your secret with, going, with food, particularly in nutrition?
so it's a bit of a mixed bag of things. You know, we've always been programmed that you got to get up, you got to have breakfast in the
Yeah.
morning, you got to have lunch, and then you got to have a dinner. And I'm a pretty much of a rebellious person, and I always want to not challenge society, but I just, why do we have to do it that way? Why
Mm.
why can't we look at another avenue? And people, as we all are, we all got multiple friends in different industries, different walks of life, and that. And people were like always saying, "You are what you eat," and I never really understood that. And I was like, well, I don't drive around eating bags of crisps, drinking 2 liter Cokes, don't eat loads of pies, but I'm a dick oak, I'm a big guy. Like,
Mm.
so what's the problem? And then I just started delaying my breakfast times, and what I had at breakfast, I would just, instead of eating 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, I would delay it and eat it between 8 and even sometimes 11. And that just pushed my whole food for the rest of the day out. So,
Mhm.
and then also after the Manjaro, well, towards the end of the Manjaro, another guy that I knew, he placed me at my previous company in South Africa. He has like a weight loss program of Get Your Best Body Back, and you do an online assessment, and then he puts a diet across to you, and things that you need in your system, like you talk about water salt and that. So I've got Himalaya salt in my water that gives me my electrolytes for the day,
Right.
that sort of stuff. And eating salads and understanding what the salads puts into your system, and the
Mhm.
potassium that you need and the calcium you need per day, that sort of stuff. So when you're on the Manjaro, it suppresses your appetite. It makes you quite constipated as well. So I needed to get off that, and my appetite, it's obviously came back if I wasn't on the Manjaro, because it wasn't suppressed. Appetite wasn't suppressed anymore. So I would just fill up on salads, like protein and salad. Put
Mhm.
chicken with the salads, eggs with the salad, avocado, all that sort of stuff. And that worked for me, and I saw the benefits of that as well. Carried
Mhm.
on losing weight after going off the injection. So that's what worked for me. And
Mhm.
you probably hit the nail on the head early on. It's all about your genetics and what works for you. There's like the carnivore diet might work for you, but it's not going to work for me because
Mhm.
of my bloods and what nutrients my system needs to perform.
Sure. Sure, sure. So I'm just curious, for those who don't know, a Manjaro diet focuses on a balanced, nutrient-dense approach to support weight loss, which is essential alongside medication. So, okay. So the sort of do they provide the medication and the diet plan, or what, for the Manjaro?
So the Manjaro, it's just an injection. I've actually got one here in my drawer. I'll get it up now. I've
Mm-hmm.
had one in my drawer for the last couple of months. I bought it already before I went off, and it's not something you can return.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, the Manjaro is just that's a pharmaceutical company. There's multiple. They supply you the injection and you administer it yourself, and it's up to you how to sort your own diet out. There's with
Oh.
what we touched on social media earlier on. There's multiple groups and people share advice on what to eat and that. And I found out, to go back to what you were asking about the NHS diets and that,
Mm-hmm.
I stopped doing that because they were also pretty much set on having your 3 meals a day, and here's a list of 9 items. Choose from those 9 items what to have. And I felt with having the Manjaro, my appetite was suppressed. And back in the day, I could smash 2 sandwiches out easily. And
Yeah.
I knew once the Manjaro was working one night, I was eating this. I prepared 2 sandwiches. I was getting to the end of the first one, and I could feel myself getting full. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and I was like, "Oh no, it's nothing." I went on to the second sandwich. I took like 2 bites out of it, and I was like, I can't eat anymore. And that night, I literally spent time on the toilet. Like, it all just came out, and I had to force myself to get sick, and
Oh, right.
because I was just feeling so bilious because I had overeaten, and that's when I knew. And this was a couple of weeks after being on the Manjaro. That's when I knew the side effects and how to start managing myself. And the next week as well, I also found during the week when I was taking it, it would make me go to the toilet, etc. It would, when I initially started, as much as I further on down the line, it made me constipated. When I started and it got into my system, it was basically like how I see it flushing me out.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if I overate, it would also flush me out, if that's a right way to put it.
Mm.
And then I would stop taking it during the week because it was actually giving me hectic stomach cramps and that as well. And it would affect me and I'd have to leave work.
Mm,
So then I started taking it on a Friday night and I learned just stick to a liquid diet afterwards. So I'd have a meal
mm,
replacement like the next morning or a soup or something like that, just a liquid that it wasn't clogging my system up for the next probably 24, 48 hours. I'll do like a liquid diet only. And
okay.
then by day like 4 or 5, you start feeling your appetite come back in. So that's when you know you're ready for your next injection.
Okay. All right. So it's a pretty intense thing to go through by the sounds of it. The
It
Manjaro.
is, it is. It's
But it
you
gets
know,
results by the sounds of it.
yeah, they advertise it as you lose up to 30% of your body weight, and I probably lost just more than that, probably 40% of my body weight I lost. So it served its purpose. But it just they went through a massive price increase. It went up probably about 25%, 30% they put onto the price. So
Okay.
I just didn't want to pay that price anymore. And I was like,
Mm,
for me, it's been a mental, like a self wanting to do things myself,
mhm,
and now it's done its purpose. Now let's go on to the next thing. And I joined
mm,
Nick and we've achieved what we needed to with Nick. And then I've like said,
mm.
no, it's December now. Want to have a good December, buddy. December of good choices. And then I need to fight this battle by myself a little bit longer now. I've had the
Sure.
guidance of Manjaro. I've had the guidance of a physical body coach helping me
Mm.
get my diet into place. So it's now time to get on and do something with myself.
Sure, sure. It's so a big thing, would you say, is just finding a way to start and just get to get your head right around it and actually start seeing results so you can just carry on in your own. It's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, that's it. You've got to start somewhere. You've got to start somewhere. And I always say to people, if you can just put your hand up and admit that you've got a problem, you're obese or you've got an alcohol problem or something, that's just admitting that you need to do something. That's 50% of your situation resolved already by acknowledging that you need to do something.
Sure. Sure, sure. So let's get into it then. What the day in the life of Warren and his food. So obviously you got bills to pay, you got to go out to work. So how do you work out your meals in a sort of sorry, I'm not sure what you're doing work wise at the moment. So are you doing like a 9 to 5 or are you freelancing? What are you doing?
So I work for a plant hire company. I've done it for almost 20 years now, just different sort of roles within the plant hire industry. Currently,
Oh,
just
cool.
hiring out plant equipment to various different industries. So
Okay.
it's in the construction, based
Mm,
around the construction industry. It's long hours.
mm,
I'll get into work 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m. most days, and I'm leaving at
mm.
5 p.m., sometimes a little
Yeah,
bit longer, depending on what time the truck's coming. So food preparation is of utmost importance. And I did find when I was obese, that was a problem. I wasn't prepared in terms of food, and I would just stop at a services or garage and just get a pie or just
yeah.
get a
Like
wrap
I.
or whatever. As much as a wrap, you think, oh, it's a wrap, it's healthy
Mm,
in there, but it's the contents
mhm.
of that mayonnaise or that ketchup or whatever's
Sure.
in there.
That quick
That,
Mickey D's. It's just a burger, quick burger. Yeah, yeah, gotcha.
yeah,
I
yeah,
hear you.
it's just one. So what I would do is on a Sunday night, I'll put some chicken or something in, or probably predominantly chicken. I'll put it in the air fryer, make sure I've got different portions of chicken ready. I'll
Mm,
buy salads, have that all ready, and then I'll put it into different containers and I'll take that with me to work. So I knew I'd have that ready
yeah.
for me. And
So
as
it's
well in the
there in quick pack and stuff like that. So let's talk about your eating schedule. Let's like you've prepared your week. So what's the day in the life of Warren with when it comes to like eating and your food and that? What sort of you said you stopped. You don't really you do the breakfast thing. So let's start from the morning. You wake up and then what happens?
So wake up morning, take my vitamins, important part. It's not food, but it's an important part that helps with your diet.
Hmm.
I'd have black coffee, went straight off. I stopped. I can go cold turkey easy, so I stopped sugar, stopped putting milk in my coffee. The dairy wasn't good. I would use that as a filler as part of my breakfast solution. I'd have coffee or water because obviously wake up, you're feeling a bit hungry, and then I'll just have a black filter coffee to push it out. And then I would, in the morning, I would make an omelette, take it with me to work, and just try as hard as possible to push it out. So I'd have an omelette which would have chicken, mushrooms, a bit of red onion, some good stuff. Put some avocado in it. It's a sauerkraut is quite good for you. Um, so I'll probably have that between 9, 10. Some days, if I'm really busy, push it out to 11, which
Hmm.
I said earlier on helped me just prolong my diet and my food and that as well. Because I'll talk about something else just now, fasting, which also helped me as well. So that would help towards the fasting hours as well, just prolonging your breakfast.
So kind of
Uh,
delaying that first meal, the yeah, the because you got that fast as you sleep, and then just delaying that first meal. What does that do to your body? Is there something in that where sort of is it a really good thing for your body or what? Just that.
Yeah, so the fasting, I was like, jeez, this guy Nick was, well, why don't we do some fasting? And I was like, okay, I've been doing like a 24-hour fast where I'd last eat on a Sunday evening. I'd have a soup at about 6ish or so. Then I
Mm,
wouldn't eat the whole day. I would just fill up on, it was a liquid fast. So I'd fill up
mm,
on water or black coffee for the whole day till I got home that night and then have another soup. So
yeah.
I'd been doing that and I didn't I didn't realize that the 6 or 8 hours you're sleeping in a night, that was a massive contribution towards your fast. So
Sure.
people are like, oh, how am I going to fast for 24 hours or 16 hours? I was, well, if you're sleeping 8 hours, that's part of your fast already gone. And they're like,
Mm.
really? And I was like, yeah, I've
Yeah.
just clicked onto that recently. It's actually not rocket science when you think about it,
Mm,
because and also the sleeping. And that's what I learned with the last guy, Nick, is that sleeping is actually such an important part of your diet, of your recovery, because that's when your body's relaxed, it's repairing itself. So that's when, and also when you're fasting, all your energy is coming from all your natural stored fats in your body. It's eating off that. So
mhm.
that's why once I did a 5 day fast, a liquid fast, where I liquid fast for 5 days, and I lost about 4.5 kgs in that week of just
Wow.
doing a liquid fast.
And
And so
how many days was that?
5 days. So
Wow.
from
What sort of how much water were you drinking? I assume you drink water and coffee or tea or
Yeah, water and coffee. I was probably pumping out about 3 liters of water, well, liquid in total a day.
Mhm.
So, and that's also another thing is people say, oh, you got to drink 2 to 3 liters of water a day. That includes your coffee in that. People think that they're going to have maybe 5, 6 cups of coffee, tea a day, plus their 3 liters of water. I
Yeah.
understand that you amalgamate those two together, and
Uh-huh.
that's your liquid intake for the day.
Right.
So I was anything between 2.5, 3 liters a day. After day two, I could feel I was feeling dizzy and I was feeling a bit weak in it, but I just, the burning desire pushed through and
Stick at it, yeah.
stick at it. And you could actually feel, you've actually got to watch videos so people are a bit more educated, can explain all the technical terms behind it. Your body actually starts, as I mentioned, working off its reserves and eating off your stored fats, etc. So you actually gain more energy as you get into it, and your
Yeah.
and your mind actually clears up and everything as well. You start focusing a lot better, etc., etc. So as I got into it, I would start off with a 24-hour fast the one week, next week a 48-hour fast, then the next week I'd do a 72-hour, and then I'll jump from the 3 day straight into the 5 day fast. So I
Right.
probably did two of those, and then I battled for the third one, so I only did a 4 day fast after that.
Hmm. Which is
So
still great. So basically, what you're saying to people is, by all means, fast, but slowly, almost like get into it, sort of prepare your body. Don't just do like a. I'm hearing people doing like sort of a 7 day water fasts out of nowhere and stuff. Not the, and just, but to do it for a day and then try a 2 day and then try three. It's sort of, just get your body into it slowly. Condition, if you will, condition your body into it.
Yeah, 100%. You don't want to put yourself off it. You don't want to
Mm,
like try attempt a 3 day fast and then
mm,
halfway into it you're like, oh, I'm really hungry. I'm gonna bail. I'm not gonna do this anymore. And then the
mm,
next week when you want to do it, you remember the trauma that you went through the last week and you don't land up doing it. So
mm.
rather baby, as I say, baby steps. Do the
Yeah.
24 hour, 48 hour, and break into it and that
Mm.
because.
All right,
But
so
yeah.
basically small victories. All right, so let's get back. So that's the sort of sporadic sort of fasting. Let's get back to the diet then. So you said you wake up, you try to delay your first meal of the day for as long as you can. So what is that? You said it was an omelet or something, did you say?
Yeah, it would be an omelette or with chicken, bacon, avo, some red onions, some
Okay.
mushrooms. And also, when I did the omelette, I wouldn't be putting any milk with it. You almost
Mm,
sometimes put a little bit of milk with it. I wouldn't. I would just put just plain eggs in the
mm,
pan and make an omelette with that. If I wasn't doing that, it would be scrambled egg with bacon, chicken, or even boiled eggs with chicken, bacon,
gotcha.
avocado. The good fats as they
Mm,
they
yeah,
call
yeah,
it.
yeah, gotcha. What about things like olive oil, extra virgin olive oil? You fan of that? It's one thing apparently for like what do you call it? Cholesterol. Keep your
Yeah.
cholesterol levels down. What's your relationship with olive oil or seed oils? There's this whole thing about demonizing seed oils and that. Where do you stand with those sort of ingredients?
Um, so in my cupboard, I've got the virgin, well, extra virgin olive oil. I've got the avocado
Hmm.
oil, and
Hmm.
then I've also got the coconut oil as
Oil.
well.
All
It
right.
comes in the white format, but once it heats up, it liquidizes and like a normal olive sort of oil.
Hmm.
So yeah, I've got those. I believe in it. You
Hmm.
can taste the difference, and
Yeah.
avocado as well. It's pretty good for you. I was
Mm-hmm.
never much of a lover of it, but once you get the mixture right and
Mm-hmm.
bit of salt, pepper, it comes out quite lekker.
Yeah, I think too. Your boys from Natal, you like your avos, don't you?
Yeah, yeah,
You like your tropical fruit, that's for sure. All right, so yeah, you go in. So and then what are we doing from there? So you have that first meal delayed. I assume sort of brunch, lunch, early afternoon sort of time. Or what
yeah.
happens then? Because
Yeah.
you're still
So
at
then,
work at this point.
yeah, still at work, keeping well busy as always. Sometimes I would take extra chicken with me, or some extra lettuce with me in case I was feeling a little bit more hungry. Then I would have something that was good for my system. We're very
Yeah.
programmed of taking a snack, but what is that snack? I
Mm,
would be taking previously, like I'd have a smoothie or some fruit or, banana, sugar. And I'm not dissing or saying fruit's bad for you, but the sugar content in there is
yeah.
actually quite phenomenal. It's scary. And I
Mm,
found when I stopped snacking on fruit and the nuts, and as much as nuts is good for you, it wasn't good for me in terms of snacking, and that it would just
mm,
clog up my system. So at that stage, I was seeing the rewards. So I would just be topping up on water. I wouldn't eat. If I needed to eat, it would be a salad with chicken, eggs, or
sure.
go down to the shop and get two boiled eggs if I didn't have anything on me. Previously, it would go down and get a chocolate or a bag of crisps or an unhealthy wrap.
Oh yeah, I remember. Do you remember when you first went to London and just the chippy, the
Yeah, yeah,
the kebab shop down the
yeah.
road?
Donut. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And you could just go and just go pick something up, a kebab or a burger or something, and it would be the guy's got it done for you in 4 or 5 minutes. You walk out, it's 3 or 4 pound, whatever you pay. They're quite expensive now, aren't they? Kind of, but it was just so easy to get a snack in the UK when I get that was my immediate thing. I got really big. What do they call it? The Heathrow injection, you
yeah.
know?
The Heathrow injection. That's it. Yeah,
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 it's so easy to get a snack, and I can imagine because my brother worked for Pickford's back in that. I remember his the plant hire thing where it's just it's 1,000 miles an hour quite a lot of the time, and it just I remember how badly he ate, man, in the plant hire at Pickford's.
yeah.
You know,
It's
I remember. guys having what you call it, chicken pies in a sandwich. They'd buy like a bread roll and put a chicken pie with baked beans in it and have that for lunch from the supermarket. I just like, wow, you know.
Yeah, scary,
Yeah,
very
it is.
scary.
It is scary, actually. So, okay, cool. What do we do when we get home? Is there a certain time after you? So you get home from work. Do you not eat? Because I know there's this thing about not eating after 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the evening. Do you sort of try to eat before and have a few hours fast before you sleep, or do you just eat when you're hungry, sort of thing?
Yeah, I was just eating when I was hungry. Some days, because of the injection, when I was full swing into it, especially the higher dosage, the higher milligram, I wasn't hungry. I could eat once a day, if that, and
Right.
I wasn't hungry. But when I was hungry, I was having a soup, a little soup. I
Mm.
think it was a 500 gram soup from Co-op. I would buy that.
What are they?
It was.
Tin soup or like fresh
Or
soup from?
carton, yeah, it's
Oh, right.
fresh
Yeah, I know the
in a
ones. Yeah,
little
yeah.
carton, like a milk carton sort of
Sure.
thing. It was 2 quid, and I was like, oh, that's all right, 2 quid. You're not breaking the bank. I'm not that hungry anyway, so
Mm.
just fill myself up on something, and it's chicken, some vegetables, getting some good nutrients into my body. So I
Sure.
would eat that. I wouldn't eat later than 7 o'clock because again, I would feel if I ate after that, I would try most days between 5 or 6. As soon as I get home, eat
Mm.
something. And I just so when you go through this whole transition and you're learning and you're seeing the pros and cons of certain things, eating later wasn't good for me. It would still be sitting in my stomach and I would battle to sleep. And you hear of guys eating like these big greasy steaky meals at 8, 9 at night. I'm like, yo,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
that 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 that's not good. And it just takes me back to like my when I used to drink quite a bit. On the way home, you stop at BP Garage and you get a couple pies and
Pepper steak pie.
yeah,
Yeah.
pepper steak. Can't beat it.
And a steri
Um,
stumpy. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so you would eat that like what, 12 to depends where you are in the morning. You wake up at 6, 7 o'clock and you're hungry. And I was like,
Mm.
how does that work out? I just ate a couple of hours ago and now I'm hungry. And
Yeah,
it just,
yeah.
it just works out as well when you go through this whole transition. You're learning about when to eat and when not to eat and that as well.
So Warren, we have run out of time on this thing. So let me just go and yeah, if you're up for a part two, you fancy talking a bit more?
Yeah,
Do you,
yeah,
do you
yeah,
have time?
yeah,
All right, cool.
yeah.
So come back for part two here with Warren Storbeck and his journey in weight loss. Cheers, Warren.
Everything's gonna be alright.